Very quickly, I want to show you how to install Symfony Drupal, which is Drupal 7 running inside the Symfony framework. If you just go to bangpound.github.io/symfony-drupal, you'll find a website that explains why I did this, how it works in a broad sense, and importantly, how to install it yourself. So I'm just going to copy and paste these commands because that is how easy it is. So I've got a terminal window open over here, and I'm going to install it in my home directory. The composer create project command downloads basically the file system for the project, and then it installs all of the dependencies once it has basically cloned the parent repository, which is the one named Symfony-Drupal. When it's finished downloading the dependencies, the composer and Symfony ask some questions about the database settings. These are not database settings that matter right now to Drupal, so you can actually accept all of the default answers, and you don't have to create a database for this that match these settings. The database that matters is the one that Drupal will install into. So I'm going to copy the next two commands, paste them in. This is a special version of Drush that basically does everything Drush does. At least it should do everything Drush does, but it overrides the way that Drush recognizes a valid Drupal root. Symfony does not use a file called index.php, and so the Drush that comes installed with Symfony Drupal is looking for a file named app.php, which is what Symfony uses. Obviously, you should change the database settings to match whatever makes sense for your environment. And finally, we just need to run the built-in web server. And then access that website. And you see here that we have Symfony, the Symfony web toolbar at the bottom shows that it's Symfony. It also shows the route and controller that it's using. So it's fully integrated in that respect, and the password that you created on the last command when you installed Drupal with Drush is Symfony. That logs you in. You have the normal Drupal 7 toolbar, and you also see at the bottom that Symfony recognizes the Drupal user that has logged in. And if you click any of these things, you'll get taken to the Symfony profiler, which has a huge amount of debugging information for each request that Symfony processes. So you can see the logs, and that includes Drupal's own logs, as well as Symfony's logs. You can see a timeline of how long the request took to process and which part of Symfony, or in this case, some of these things are Symfony Drupal components like the request listener or the view listener, how long those took to do their work. The doctrine debugger has no information about Drupal queries. I don't know if that's going to be possible to hook up, but it's not going to show you anything about Drupal queries at all. But the request information shows you the Drupal route, the Drupal router item, PHP cookies, session cookies. Just to show you that it works pretty well, I'm going to create a quick node. And there you have it. The Symfony Drupal also works with views, panels. It should work with any well-written Drupal module that uses the Drupal API. The kinds of things that will make it break are Drupal modules that call the PHP header function directly. Drupal has a wrapper function for this, so a module should not be doing that. And of course, this is sort of test, alpha test software, so there might be things that don't work, but in terms of my own testing, I've been able to get this to work reliably with core and with most of the popular modules. Actually, I haven't found any modules that don't work at all. Other things that might be problematic would be anything that messes with how Drupal does its caching, or how Drupal does its user authentication, or how Drupal does its session handling, because all of those things are taken over by Symfony. In the case of caching, then it's not taken over by Symfony, but there are some tricks that you have to pull to get the two different caching systems to be cleared at the right times. In any case, if you want to learn more, definitely review this documentation site, and if you use it, let me know. Thanks for trying it out.